It was a sweltering July morning in 2024, the kind of day in Raleigh, North Carolina, where the air felt like a wet blanket and the cicadas sang louder than your thoughts. Laura Bennett was out in her front yard, fussing over her azaleas, those vibrant red blooms that made every other lawn on Maplewood Lane look like it was slacking. She was lost in her work, humming an old country tune, probably debating whether to switch to organic fertilizer. The neighborhood was still, save for the hum of a distant sprinkler, and life felt like a glossy real estate ad. But trouble doesn't send a courtesy RSV pit, just shows up, and that day, it roared into Laura's driveway like it owned the place. A black SUV rolled up, bass thumping so hard it rattled windows, and set off a car alarm 2 streets over. Laura glanced up, squinting against the sun, as 3 men climbed out, dressed in the most laughable tactical gear you've ever seen. The leader, a guy with a gut spilling over his vest, had an orange BB gun sticker glaring from his chest, rigged straight from the bargain bin, no doubt. His badge, if you could call it that, looked like it was printed on a kid's toy, complete with security officer in a font that screamed dollar store. The second guy, trying too hard to channel a TV cop, kept fidgeting with a utility belt that sported zip ties still in their Home Depot packaging. The third, a scrawny kid who looked like he'd rather be anywhere else, shuffled in boots so big he wobbled like a toddler in his dad's loafers. Laura, a retired trauma nurse with 20 years of wrangling drunks in the ER, sized them up in a heartbeat. She dusted off her gardening gloves and flashed a smile sharp enough to cut steel. "Well, now," she drawled. "When did the HOA start hiring Navy SEALs? Did Mrs. Carter's garden gnome finally declare war?" The sarcasm dripped like honey, and the big guy, let's call him Greg, puffed up like a peacock. "Ma'am, we're here on official HOA business. Reports of unauthorized fence height and, prohibited plant displays." "Prohibited plant displays? Please. We're talking azaleas, not a cannabis farm." Laura's eyebrows shot up, and she gestured to her flowers like she was explaining colors to a kindergartner. "These are azaleas, fellas. Unless the HOA's got a vendetta against pretty, I'm pretty sure they're legal." Across the street, Mrs. Evelyn Harper, the neighborhood's unofficial watchdog, was already filming from her porch, trying to look casual while pointing her phone straight at the scene. Laura, unfazed, kept poking holes in their act. "Let's see some ID, boys. Real ID, not something you printed off your mom's computer." Greg stepped closer, looming over her, his voice low and menacing. "Ma'am, you're obstructing an official investigation. Cooperate, or this gets messy." Laura didn't flinch, holding up her phone to record. "Oh, keep talking, Officer Bargain Bin. My husband's gonna love this." That's when the front door creaked open, and Tom Bennett stepped onto the porch, coffee mug in hand, still in his running shorts from his morning jog. Tom wasn't a hulking guy, but he carried himself with a quiet intensity, years as a Green Beret will do that. His eyes scanned the scene like he was mapping a battlefield, and the air shifted. He set his mug down with deliberate calm, the kind that makes smart people rethink their choices. "Gentlemen," he said, his voice steady but edged with steel, "mind showing me your credentials?" The trio froze, and Greg's bravado started to crack. They mumbled some excuse and peeled out, but Evelyn whispered to Tom as they left, "That woman's been scheming for months. I've seen shady types at her place at all hours. What's Vanessa up to?" The next morning, Laura was back with her azalea. She wasn't about to let some wannabe tough guys ruin her routine when the SUV returned, music blaring louder than ever. Greg strutted out, adjusting his vest like he was auditioning for a bad action flick. "Ma'am, we tried playing nice yesterday. Today, we've got authority to inspect that illegal fence." Laura laughed, pulling out her phone again. "Authority? From where?" "The Halloween store. Those zip ties aren't exactly screaming law enforcement." Greg's face reddened, and when Laura kept filming, he snapped, grabbing her phone. She yanked it back, stumbling into her azaleas, thorns tearing at her arms. Before she could recover, Greg slapped her hard, knocking her hat off and sending a shockwave through the quiet street. Laura caught herself against the mailbox, hand to her stinging cheek, eyes blazing with a fury that could have lit the neighborhood on fire. "Big mistake, pal," she said, her voice low and deadly. That's when Tom stepped out again, his calm now a thin veil over something dangerous. He took in Laura's torn clothes, the blood on her arms, the ruined azaleas, and fixed Greg with a look that made the kid in the oversized boots start backing away. "You just put your hands on my wife," Tom said, each word a warning shot. "In my yard, while pretending to be cops. Here's how this goes. You apologize, you pay for the damage, and you tell me who sent you." Greg, too dumb to read the room, reached for his zip ties. "Back off, soldier boy, or you're next." What happened next was over in seconds. Tom moved like a panther, pinning Greg face down in the grass, arm twisted just shy of breaking. The second guy lunged and ended up sprawled across the driveway. The kid tripped over his boots, face planting in the flower bed. Deputy Sarah Klein arrived, cuffing the trio and pulling Tom aside. "I've been getting weird calls about you for weeks, Tom. Someone's feeding us fake reports. Who's got it out for you?" The answer came fast and ugly. Vanessa Reed, the HOA president, wasn't done. By morning, bright orange flyers littered Maplewood Lane, screaming, "Dangerous veteran threatens community," with a grainy photo of Tom from an old military event. The lies painted him as a ticking time bomb, twisting his service into a weapon. Then came the violation notices: $250 for a non-compliant mailbox, $400 for unauthorized garden stones, $500 for kids' chalk drawings. Neighbors who once shared beers with Tom now crossed the street to avoid Laura. The local coffee shop owner asked her to leave, citing customer complaints. It was like watching a family erased from their own community. Evelyn became their lifeline, showing Laura footage of the slap and a box stuffed with violation notices: $300 for visual pollution from painted rocks, $450 for misplaced lawn ornaments. "Vanessa's been fleecing folks for months," Evelyn said, crunching numbers. "She's made at least $35,000 off these scams." Tom, using his cybersecurity skills, dug into the HOA's books and found funds funneled to Elite Property Solutions, registered to Vanessa's address. But every time he got close to hard evidence, files vanished, passwords changed. Someone was watching him, and they were good. The threats escalated. One night, a manila envelope slid under their door, containing blueprints of their house with red X's on gas lines and load-bearing walls. A note read, "Some houses burn easily." Laura's voice trembled as she urged Tom to call the real police, but he was already in mission mode, setting up cameras and motion sensors like he was fortifying a base. "This isn't random, Laura," he said, pointing to sync timestamps. "Every time Vanessa has a late-night meeting, we get hit with new violations. This is a machine, and she's not running it alone." Then came the lawsuit. Vanessa sued Tom for $60,000, claiming assault, property damage, and community endangerment. Her lawyer, a shark in a suit, spun Tom's military record into a tale of an unhinged vigilante. In court, Vanessa played the victim, her voice quaking as she described Tom's attack on her security team. Doctored footage showed Tom as the aggressor, erasing Laura's assault. Laura's testimony, calm, detailed, showing her thorn-scratched arms was shredded by accusations of faked evidence. Neighbors, even Tom's buddy Mark, testified against him, parroting Vanessa's lies. The judge ruled for Vanessa, slapping Tom with damages, a restraining order, and a device seizure for evidence tampering. As they left the courthouse, their car's tires were slashed, and a note read, "This isn't over." Tom hit rock bottom for a day, then snapped back. In their garage, surrounded by packed boxes, he spread out a map of Raleigh, marking Vanessa's house, the city inspector's office, and contractor sightings. "She's a predator," he told Laura, "and predators only respect strength." With Evelyn's meticulous notes and a surprise ally, Jake, the nervous kid from the fake cop trio, Tom built his case. Jake, desperate to save his cancer-stricken daughter, Lily, confessed Vanessa paid him $200 to intimidate them. Tom offered to cover Lily's medical bills if Jake testified. Tom played Vanessa like a fiddle, posting subtle jabs on social media to rattle her ego. "Anyone else notice how many folks are moving out? Is the HOA really helping us?" Vanessa bit, posting defensive rants that crumbled under scrutiny. Evelyn ceded the Truth HOA funds spent on non-existent projects, sky-high violation fines. Tom set the stage for an emergency HOA meeting, rigging the community center with hidden mics. The meeting was electric, the room packed with tense neighbors. Vanessa strutted in, flanked by her lawyer and suited goons, ready to crush Tom. But Jake stood up, voice cracking, showing a photo of Lily in her hospital bed. Vanessa paid me to scare the Bennetts, he said, spilling everything. Evelyn followed, projecting HOA records showing $40,000 funneled to Vanessa's shell company. Tom sealed it with audio of Vanessa plotting against them. She unraveled, screaming, "You think you can ruin me, soldier boy? I've been planning your downfall for months." Her lawyer couldn't stop her as she confessed it all. Deputy Klein and federal agents swooped in, cuffing Vanessa for fraud, extortion, and conspiracy. The city inspector, Carl, was arrested for bribes. The HOA was dissolved, Evelyn took charge, and Jake got immunity, his daughter's bills covered. 6 months later, Maplewood Lane threw a block party, Laura's azaleas blooming brighter than ever, Tom building a swing set. Evelyn toasted to justice, but as laughter filled the air, a black sedan cruised by, pausing before vanishing. Was peace finally theirs? Or was someone new watching? What would you do if your neighbor tried to destroy you? Would you fight back or run? Drop a comment, hit like, and subscribe if you want to know who's in that sedan, because this story's not over.